From the moment the Norwegian Prima was announced, our family was so excited for its debut.
And we were ecstatic when we got invited by Norwegian to come on the inaugural sailing out of Galveston, Texas.
From the moment you board the Norwegian Prima, you can tell that it is on a whole nother playing field than the breakaway class ships that our family has grown to love so much.
So if you are a family that likes to travel together, let's go see if this is the ship for you. From the moment we boarded this ship, we knew that there were two things we had to do. My favorite, the drop slide.
And my favorite, the Speedway.
So the drop slide, you get in the slide, you go to the front of it. It's kind of like a coffin-ish type thing where the front opens. You climb in. There's a mat that they put in there. You climb in with your feet in the bottom of the mat. You're kind of standing on a piece of plexiglass. And then you hold on to the mat on both sides across your chest. And then this amazingly great guy stands over there and starts laughing, closes the lid on you, and hits the countdown.
Best idea ever.
The floor drops out from below you and you are soaring down 10 stories. It was so much fun. Definitely worth all the anticipation that we had.
My favorite part about the Prima was the newly upgraded Prima Speedway. Guys, this Speedway is absolutely spectacular. It rises 3 stories now, and the way this thing is laid out, you can pretty much race this entire track without ever hitting the brakes. Unless
one of your friends is sitting there with one of the new laser guns that they have put on this ship. You guys, this was so much fun. We joined up with another couple and played against each other. They have targets on the top of these new carts that they have, and you can actually shoot them. And if it turns green, you give the player a boost, and if it turns red, you kind of slow them down. So we had a great competition to see who could hit as many targets as possible.
this is for sure the best Speedway Norwegian's put out, and I am so excited to see where this Speedway concept goes in the future. One of our favorite parts about the Prima is there was so many activities on board.
One of our favorite places to hang out was on deck 17 in the stadium. And that's actually a complimentary place to go hang out, and they had so many amazing things to check out, including things like shuffleboard and ping pong and beer pong, as well as oversized foosball tables.
Guys, they even had a pickleball court up there that was so much fun.
But they did have this crazy ping pong thing that was in a big circular tube, and we played it at night, and there were little lights flickering inside of it, and it messed with our heads so bad, but we had so much fun trying to play that.
So much harder than it looks. It was crazy hard. So just across the way from the stadium is two really cool things. There's a place called the Bullseye, which has multiple little darts booths where you can reserve a game to play digital darts with a whole group of friends.
And why don't you tell them who won all 3 times? Me.
Outside of the darts booth, there's actually a really cool digital-esque, very futuristic miniature golf course as well, which was really fun to play at night with everything lit up.
Never have we experienced a golf course lit up like that at night, and it was super fun to try that out.
And at the very end, or your last hole, you do have the ability to win a free cruise as well, which is also an added bonus. The next must-see area you need to experience on board the Prima is located all the way at the front of the ship, right in the middle of the observation deck, and it's the Galaxy Pavilion. There's all kinds of really neat virtual reality games and the very first Topgolf at sea.
We also have an escape room that we were fortunate enough to try, and I'm sure once all the kinks are worked out, it will be absolutely amazing. So guys, when it comes to traveling with your family, it's super important to know the things that are going to be an upcharge or things that are complimentary on a ship. So let's start off with the things that were complimentary on Prima. The stadium. Everything included in the stadium was free of charge, as well as the drop slide, the other 2 plunge slides, and the water slide. That's basically where it ends on the free complimentary options on Prima. Now let's talk about the things with an upcharge. The things that didn't surprise us that much were the Prima Speedway, because if you want to ride this, and there's not a charge, the lines would be astronomical the entire trip and you'd never get to ride it. The other thing that didn't surprise us that much was the Galaxy Pavilion with all of the virtual realities, as well as Topgolf and even the escape room. However, the Galaxy Pavilion does offer a day pass, which is pretty reasonable price-wise, and the escape room is then also an additional upcharge. Now those things didn't surprise us that much, but the things that did shock us quite a lot was starting off with miniature golf. We've never paid to play miniature golf on a cruise ship. Now it was beautiful and it was amazing, and you could win a cruise at the end on your last putt, but we feel like that was a swing and a miss. We feel like there were so many other ways than we could enjoy miniature golf without even that extra added thing at the end of it. The other one that for us was a swing and a miss was the darts. Now we travel with our kids almost exclusively, and this is something they would absolutely love. But the upcharge that came along with it was an additional $20 per group, and you had to have a reservation to do so. Now our kids would love this, and we would constantly find ourselves shelling out another $20 so that they could enjoy this. So again, that one was not our favorite, and we had a hard time with that.
So as we mentioned, we're big fans of the breakaway class of ships, but one of the ways the Prima deviates from this class of ship greatly is in the pool deck and the water slides.
So the pool deck felt very squishy to us. It was kind of sandwiched between the buffet and the Galaxy Pavilion, and it just didn't have the open deck feel like the Norwegian breakaway class does. It also kind of had a swing and a miss when it came to the water slides.
Yeah, we were super excited to try this new tidal wave water slide concept, but honestly it left a lot to be desired. It almost seemed like it was an afterthought, right?
Exactly. Speaking of afterthoughts, we kind of felt the same way about the kids' splash pad. It was so little and had so little to do within the splash pad that it almost felt like it may have been better to just leave it out.
For sure.
Having said that, there's still multiple options for pools throughout the ship, including the Vibe Beach Club, as well as the two amazing infinity pools off the side of the ship, and numerous hot tubs to be found.
Those infinity pools off the side, lit up at night, they're actually a really cool place to hang out and just enjoy your time and watch the ocean. So let's get into what every cruiser wants to know, the food. One of the coolest new concepts the Norwegians brought forth in the Prima is the Indulge Food Hall.
This was such a fun experience. It was different than anything we've ever experienced on a cruise ship.
We had just boarded the Norwegian Prima, and we have stepped into the Indulge Hall. You guys got to check out this new system for ordering food. You come sit down and you pull up this menu, and you decide what you want to eat for lunch. So if you want to choose from the garden, you can stay here, click on the next one, and order some guacamole. Click order, it adds to your cart, and you can continue ordering whatever sounds the best to you. There's some noodles lunch, there's Q's barbecue, some seaside. Anyway, then you're gonna hit place my order, and next thing you know, it shows up right here at your table.
The one downside is while we were there, the system did crash multiple times, and at lunch, this is almost an impossible spot to find a table. But we would definitely recommend the food was a lot better at night. It was kind of a cool place to go hang out if you weren't filling the main dining room or any of the specialty dining options.
We did really enjoy the Indulge Food Hall though, and would highly recommend you try this out when you're on this ship.
I'm sure as time goes on and Norwegian starts real sailings, they'll kind of work out the kinks, and this is going to be a destination all on its own on this ship for sure. Of course, one of the fan favorites made its way back to the Prima, and that's the local bar. This place is one of our favorites, and it still is present on the Prima. Although it's very different, has a different feel. There's a dining side, and then there's a bar side, and they're on two opposite sides of the ship, but it was still a pretty cool place to hang out.
There is still plenty to do within the local, where it's normally located in the main atrium, and you can experience a big gathering of people. This one had the side where they still had the big screens and they still had the bar, and you still had that warm, welcoming environment. And you could actually still walk through to the other side to go to the dining, but it was just a very different feel on this one. But it was still a great option.
That was still a cool place for us to go, hang out, grab a drink. We were able to watch the World Series and a lot of the NFL games. So it was still an inviting place, but it just didn't have that overall centralized feeling like we're used to in the main atrium area on most other Norwegian ships. One of the things that the Prima is not short of is specialty dining restaurants. They've added several new restaurants outside of the normal usuals like Cagney's, Le Bistro, Los Lobos. We were able to try the new Onda by Scarpetta, which is an Italian-focused menu, and it was absolutely fantastic. In addition, the main dining room has changed a little bit as well. Although the Prima has an absolutely beautiful main dining room, they do have a new fixed menu concept where everything stays the same throughout. And although the food we had in this main dining room was excellent, we're not really sure how we feel about this whole fixed menu concept.
Now, it might be okay on a shorter sailing, but if you were on this for a longer extended time, we can see how you could get sick of this pretty quick.
For
now,
sure.
The upside to that is there's no shortage of specialty dining on Prima.
One of the things that Norwegian absolutely hit out of the park was their stateroom design. From the beginning of the concept of the Prima, there was a lot of conscious effort in adding more space into the staterooms, and our balcony cabin was absolutely beautiful.
From the moment you walked in, you could just tell that the space felt so inviting. The colors, the detail that they put into this, each room was just immaculate. So the room felt bigger than any room I've ever had. And that's despite having all of the luggage in the room and everything unpacked. There was plenty of storage within the room. And the bathrooms were so nice. On other ships, you go in and you feel like you're turning around in circles trying to get to everything. This felt so much more laid out, and you had room to use the bathroom and to shower, and the shower was big, and it didn't feel like you were squished into the room. It just was an overall amazing feel in the rooms.
Another big difference with the Prima was the overall atrium area. We're used to that very open place where the local and the big LCD screen and guest services has kind of hovered around that big area, but the Prima was very different. Everybody congregated around a big Starbucks and a whiskey bar, and on the other side of the atrium, it was all the shopping. So it wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was just a very different feel and a very different area than what you would normally experience on a Norwegian ship.
It didn't have the place where everybody congregated to play games or do trivia like the normal, or like the breakaway class, but it definitely had a different vibe about it, and it was just a different experience all around. So one of the things that we found very different about this ship was that it didn't have a walking track. It did have the open concept with the boardwalk on deck 8 where it goes the entire length of the ship, but it also had the open glass walkways on the side.
Super cool.
Super awesome, but I am terrified to my core on things like that. So the fact that I did it, and I did it twice, was more than I could have expected. It was an awesome experience to say I've done. Don't need to do it again, but it was still amazing.
This boardwalk's also the same location where all the drop slides end, as well as where you gain access to the infinity pools. So it kind of becomes the focal point of the ship where everybody kind of congregates and hangs out for the most part.
If Broadway theater is your jam, then the entertainment on this ship is gonna wow your socks off. The Donna Summer show was a great show, and then one of our top favorites probably was the Noise Boys.
If you've ever seen Quiet Man at Sea, that's hands down one of our favorite shows ever. And the Noise Boys is brought to you from the same producers as that show, and it was fantastic. These beatbox artists they had during that show are insanely talented, and it was actually a really good time. But I think above both of those shows, what was more breathtaking was this new theater. It is packed with technology and can transform unlike any theater I've ever seen. We're excited to see how this transforms for the new Price is Right and the supermarket suite concept, but at night it transforms into a Las Vegas-esque nightclub with lasers and stuff called Sensoria, and it was just insanely crazy cool. So, is this ship right for you?
Well, if you don't mind the upcharge to keep you and your family entertained for days, this may be the perfect option for your family.
But if you're like us and you're traveling on a budget, there may be better options for you. But regardless of which ship you choose, remember, cruising is a great way to vacation as a family and build memories.
So, remember guys, always take time to travel.